How's it going, guys? It's Nutshell, and today we have one of the best, and I mean best, loot runs that you can do right now, and you don't even have to spend any time within your raids. It is so good that you can earn millions of rubles in about 10 minutes. It is that quick. If you like the sound of making a ton of money and you want to support me for showing you this method, then make sure to hit the like button. It's the best thing and easiest thing that you can do to help me out. So thank you very much. Let's jump in. And so what am I talking about when I'm talking about this loot run? What is so special and why? Well, because of the recent hideout upgrades that have happened within the newest patch to Escape from Tarkov's PVE mode, in that they've created the new hideouts with the cultist circle and the actual dummies that you can use within the game. All of the hideout items required to actually upgrade those hideout areas have gone sky high. And why does that matter for this loot run? Well, this loot run encompasses all of those items pretty much, so you have a insanely high chance to get some of these items, and if you get just one of them, they can be like 400k, and there are so many different spawns for these in this loot run that why would you not actually just do it for a few raids to make a ton of money? And if you were limited on the amount of money, if you got screwed over by the labs keycards and losing a ton of money on them, and maybe you want to recoup some of that money because of the limited use keycards that we have for labs now, which was a great idea, BSG, thank you very much. But either way, we can recoup some of that money using the reserve run. And the keys that you're going to need to use are these ones right here. This is all the keys that you could possibly need for this loot run. Now in the background, you've got footage of me running through the loot run that I did for the results that we're going to showcase at the end of this. But if you want a full breakdown on all of these rooms that we've done in one neat package video where I go through every single one of these areas and where to kind of look out for, you can have a look at the video that's going to be linked at the end of this one. But essentially we're running between the kind of night buildings and the black pawns, white pawn buildings, and looting up all of the areas behind them, and also checking in near the station tower, the radio tower, where you can see the giant dome, and inside there are a ton of spawns for drawers. And why are drawers important? Well, it's because things like energy saving lamps spawn in them. It's also because things like can of white salt spawn in them. You've got a wide variety of random bolts and all of the tech items like that can spawn in the drawers, and all of these have been like tripled, quadrupled, 10x in price since this latest patch. And so if you want to be able to get the items yourself, or you want to be able to make a ton of money in these short period of time in between now and then you can also do that. And why have we got the marked room keys in here? Well, if you do not have a red rebel and you don't have a paracord, so you can extract at the top of the dome, well, you can use these to as essentially getting extra loot as you go through. We actually opened up the RBBK, which is directly under one of the black pawn buildings, so you can go underneath and then into that and check that one. We managed to get an M60 out of that, so very, very lucky indeed to actually get that. But apparently they're spawning quite regularly, and so yeah, I mean, there are a million right now if you do get a an actual M60A1, which is great. And if you want to test out the new weapon, then you can open up the key. However, it is very expensive to actually purchase the key right now. It's about 9 million rubles, something like that. But at the end of the day, it's down to you whether you want to purchase it. The loot seems to be buffed in those marked rooms to the point where you're not just getting like crappy value weapons, you are actually getting some rares in there as well to buff up the value. So that kind of adds to the value of those rooms. You can still get keycards within these rooms, but the keycards themselves have shot down in value, and so are not worth anywhere near as much as they previously were, since they are 1 out of 10 use, or 10 out of 10 uses, so you can't use them past that. And so, yeah, now you're really relying on the actual generic loots that come in those marked rooms to actually make your money. But of course, once you've used all 3 of the marked rooms, you can then trade them in for a dorm's marked room key, essentially making the price of all of those marked rooms essentially free. You do spend a tiny bit extra in terms of the you may spend like an extra 2 million to open up all 10 uses on every single one of those marked rooms, But at the same time, you're spending 2 million and you're getting all of the loot from all 10 openings of every single one of those rooms. And so when you trade it in from Dorm's Marked Room, you can either sell the Dorm's Marked Room or use it to open it up again. So it's really down to you. So essentially you're getting like 4 keys for the price of like 1, essentially. So you basically get the RBPKPM, RBVO and RBBK keys for just 1 Dorm's Marked Room key. And of course you get the full uses out of all of them if you really want to. And so I'd highly recommend that. And then to save even more money, rather than opening the last RB or the Marked Room key for Dorms, so Dorms 314, you can actually sell it with 1 use and make a ton more money than if you were to cost it down as like a 1 out of or like a 10 out of 10, because of the fact people need it for a quest. And so it's always more expensive for the Dorms Marked Room versus you know, a 1 out of 10 RBBK, because people need it for that quest. And so it can be like double the price of what it would be if you were to divide the total value of buying a 10 out of 10 by 10. You won't end up with the same price as a 1 out of 10 Dorm's Marked Room key. So you can actually basically break even if you do sell your Dorm's Marked Room key for a 1 out of 10 use. Plus, remember, you've got all of the loot out of those rooms. But yeah, we'll do a video on Marked Rooms again to see what we can actually make out of them, whether they are worth your time in terms of the Dorms one. And of course, you know, these ones, they're pretty much worth it because you get that Dorms Marked Room. You're covering your costs essentially, and you're getting all of the loot and the potential to get key cards out of them as well. So I think it is definitely worth opening these ones if you are playing a lot of reserve, and you can just save the RBBK ones for when you want to do a bit of grinding for all of the other rooms as well. And if you go down into the bunker, you can open up the RBPKPM. But a very, very good loot run. You're just opening up all of the drawers that are lying around all over the black pawn, white pawn buildings. You can even go into the medical area, but you do need some extra keys, which I believe are RBSMP and RBKSM, which are med spawns. They can have Ledexes in there, which is the building directly opposite the kind of, I guess, the radar tower or the dome area on top of the map. It's the one far away when you're looking out towards the reserve map from the dome. It's the opposite one, not the nearest one, lying horizontally. So either way, hopefully this is going to showcase at least some part of the run. But once again, detailed breakdown of this run, plus all of the extra bits that you can do on reserve and areas down in the bunker as well, are covered within that loot run that's at the end of this video and in the description of this video. So I highly recommend checking that out, as it gives you all of the spawns and you can make a ton more money than what we made. I just wanted to get this video out to showcase it to you and for you to make a ton of money as well. So specifically, what did we make from this raid? So we've jumped out of that raid. Let's take a look at exactly what we made from just a very quick run on reserve, because of course the hideout items are pretty crazy in terms of the prices because of the new hideout zones, and some of them being absolutely overpriced right now because of it. So with that being said, let's dump in all of the items. I'll join you back in a second because I'm sure you don't want to watch me drag out a ton of items. So I've dumped out absolutely everything into the stash, as you can see here, up to this line where the super water is and the M60, and below that is where it ends. So this little bit of loot that we grabbed out of just a very quick raid, how much does it actually total? Well, let me go ahead and sell everything on the flea. I will double check in my stash. As you can see, we've got a couple of lying around bits of dollars that I will make sure to put into my money case, so we haven't got any lying around and it's not going to auto filter the money that we make into those. And then I'll kind of show off how much we made from every single one of these bits and some of the highest priced items right now that you'll want to be collecting if you play in PvE. And talking about highest priced items, energy saving lamps are currently going for 450k each. So guess what? We're going to be selling them for 440,000, and I'll just make sure that we haven't got any more that are filtering in there from down below. So it was only 2 that we actually got, and we'll list those up, paying 150k on the flea, and eventually those will sell. I'll make sure to kind of keep some of the notes as to how much some of these bits and bobs actually sell for, but even things like, for example, nails have gone up significantly because of it, and so I'll go ahead, sell everything else. Even bolts are up at 110k, so we can sell those ones off. Oh, and I almost forgot, cans of white salt are 400k because of the fact you need them to upgrade into the cultist circle. So yeah, 400k. So I've gone ahead and I've sold absolutely everything bar the ammunition, because I'll probably end up using it at some point, especially the BPBS, etc. Of course we could sell the 300 blackout, but it is what it is. We'll probably just dump it into the stash. In terms of some of the loose loot that I just went ahead and sold straight to Therapist, we made 319,000 from just that. But on Ragman, we made a substantial amount more. And you can see here from that tiny, very minuscule run that we ended up actually doing, we made, in the region, if we total it all up, we made 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 3.35 million, plus a ton of money in the dollars and euros as well added on. So probably in the region about 3.4 million, something in that region. And we got ourselves an M60, which you can sell if you really wanted to for $1 million right now. So, yeah, I mean, we could sell it. Am I going to? Absolutely not, because I want to test it out in one of the videos coming up soon. So I'm not going to go ahead and sell it. You can see ammunition is loaded into this bad boy. So if we were to uninstall the magazine, wherever that's actually gone, and there we go, and unload it, we get a ton of M80 rounds, which is pretty decent and would save you a little bit of money in there. But of course we'll drop it back in there for when we want to use it. So 3.5 million, probably 4.5 million when you consider the M60E6 added in there as well. So not a bad run at all, and very, very quick. We also got a master tool set, which is probably not selling for very much, so we'll just go ahead and sell that to Therapist for 22k, and there we go. So that is the run, and of course you can check out an even more in-depth run of the reserve raid that you can do if you really want to, which I will link at the end of this video. If you did enjoy this one, make sure to like it and of course subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you there. Goodbye.